There was a comment on one of my videos asking, what is a composite art journal? Well, let me tell you, this is my composite art journal. Right now, it's empty. That's because I have not bound anything in it. This is a 12 by 12 scrapbook that I found at the thrift store that I'm going to use for the cover of my composite art journal. At the beginning of 2017, if you look back at my videos, you will have seen where I was very frustrated because in previous years I had all these journals started, but a lot of blank pages at the end of them, and I'm going, no, that's not going to happen in 2017. No, I'm going to put everything in one art journal. Well, for the most part, that has worked. I'll explain that a little later, but let me show you the progress. It's almost the middle of September. I have approximately 3.5 months left in 2017. And I want to show you the progress of my composite art journal. Are you ready? All right. This was the very first page. My year 2017 looks good, huh? Well, let me flip this on end. Are you ready for this? Here we go. You know how wide this is? Hold on, I'll tell you. It is approximately... Now, I suppose if I squeeze them all together, but I don't want to squeeze them together. I just want them to fall normal. It is 6.5 inches right now wide. And if I let it fall, just kind of flat, I could say probably about 7 inches. I have a couple pages here at the bottom that I don't have finished yet. I'm going to put ATCs on these pages. These are June pages at the bottom. Right here, I have 2 of them, but there'll be ATCs on the front. There'll be 36 ATCs on these 2 pages, so that'll add a little bulk to it. And then at the very bottom is a page that I can't show you because it's for a video hop that hasn't come out yet. But yes, this is my composite art journal. Now, do I have other art journals in 2017? The answer is yes. I have some glue books. I have 2 completed glue books. I have a journal that I'm working on here in September that I'm following Cindy Sign's Utters Challenge at Artsy Endeavors, where she's taking a magazine and gluing all her scraps in that. And let's see, I have a Happy Mail art journal. I have a Childcraft encyclopedia that I'm working on in my live sessions. I have a little pocket calendar journal that I'm working on. And I have my license plates art journal. I have my magazine idea playground where I glued 5 magazines together following Dee Dee Willingham's challenge. And I have my Society for Idea Collectors art journal. All of that in 2017, and I'll show all those other journals later. But other than the glue books, which are finished or will be finished, but those aren't, I can't really get those into here, and I'm not really intending to. I have a couple of other pieces that are 3-dimensional pieces that I really can't put in an art journal. I did a dollar store art challenge where I made a shadow box, and I did a piece at Jenny Belly's birthday bash where we did a triptych. So I've been doing a lot of art in 2017. But for the most part, this is my main 2017 art journal. And when I'm finished with 2017, I will bind all of these pages. And I do have a plan on how to bind them. I think it's going to work. I think I'll be fine. And I'm going to bind them using the cover that I showed you when I first started this video, the scrapbook cover. So I'll give you an idea of what's in here. I will say that if you watch all my videos in 2017, you most likely will have seen a video for just about every page. There are some sketches that I did that I don't have videos on. I did them during live sessions on other people's channels and during our hangouts when I was doing hangouts with other artists. And I don't have a video of that. But this was the very first page that I did in 2017, and it's my word for 2017, which by the way was my word for 2016, and it may be my word for 2018 because it puts me in a very positive frame of mind. And that's how I want to start out my years. Triumphant. And then this is all my year 2017. My year 2017 is a Facebook group started by Gina Ahrens, and there are 4 teachers in there: Gina Ahrens, Cindy Signs Utter, Ann Williamson, and Jerry Bellini. And they are doing a wonderful, 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 wonderful job with that group. I keep telling them I am never bored in the My Year 2017 group. It is not just art journaling. There are many, many, many different projects you can do. You don't have to do every one. You can do as you are inspired. And these are ones that I do not have videos on. These were sketches that I did during, I believe, when Gina Ahrens was doing her Watercolor Wednesdays or her Wednesdays creative art live sessions on her challenge. While I was watching her, I would sit there and do my own art. This came off of my own photograph that I took a picture of, and this was a little squirrel out in our tree, and I swear he just posed for me. I saved these to show how I kept saying my rabbit looks like a rat terrier. And I kept sketching this rabbit. I couldn't get it like I wanted it. Look at that. I think that was my first one. I was so... If you ever get discouraged with your art, you know, just keep trying. Keep trying. It'll eventually get better. And then this was my final one over here. But I kept these as an example of how you can go from something like this. I swear, he looks like a rat, not a rabbit. To something, you keep evaluating it. You're going, what am I doing wrong here? And you keep trying. And as you keep sketching it, eventually it winds up looking something like a rabbit. This was a challenge from Cindy Signs Utter of just working free and loose. And the challenge was to take your pen and not let it touch the page and do a sketch. And this was left-handed, I believe. This one was left-handed and this one was right-handed. I wanted to use my fine line paint applicator to do the same thing. So this is all paint from my fine line paint applicator. I really do like how this came out. It was really fun to do this. This was watercoloring off of the jelly plate. This one I might have to bind a little bit differently. I'll probably do some flip pages in here because I have some more than one watercolor off of the jelly plate page in here. But I just attached them all together. Just playing with my R2 pens. I was gifted some colored R2 pens. Had a lot of fun sketching these. Same here. I did these in May. Now we're getting into the en masse art journal pages. And I think I'm just going to keep my en masse pages a part of my 2017. I do not think that I'm going to start a separate journal. I haven't quite decided yet. I may bind them by themselves and see how it accumulates. I just have not quite decided yet on that. But these were, in 2017, what I'm trying to do for my en masse pages are only glue down things that are multiples in my life, such as DMC floss labels, headlines out of the newspaper, cookie recipes. I say, oh, here, postmarks, stamps off of envelopes, library cards. These all came out of books that I got at on the book sale table, and they still had the library cards in there, but I really like all the dates stamped on them. So I took them out of the book sale books and put them on the page here. Gold medal flower labels. I love the gold medals. More seed packets. These are bookmarks, and I have a page that I need to do here, but I want these two facing each other. These are fireworks. These came off of firework packages that when we had our 4th of July celebration. This was in January. I always do Poet Spice's January Doodle Challenge, where you do a doodle every day. And my doodles, I call them skadoodles because they're sketchy doodles. And I've got 4 weeks of them. This is the first week. Here's the second week. I've gotten to painting them a little bit more here, but they're kind of doodles because I do them really fast. I don't sit and I doodle them, but I've done some painting on this one. This was in the kitchen where I drew the blender and the waffle maker and a spoon. I put yesterday's news is today's doodle paper. So scribble like a child. Then I have some art that I did for the Jogos group. I participated for several months, but I've just gotten busy with so many things. I haven't done any more prompts, but these are the ones I did. This is the January prompt, which was texture. This is one of my favorite ones. Don't ask me what the prompt was. All I know was I wrote the quote. I think the prompt was time here. I forget what the prompt was over here, but I think the prompt on here was time. And I put these two together. This was another prompt. I can't remember. But anyway, these two very similar. Time is like a river, and then this is an actual vinyl 12-inch record. And I wrote on it with my fine line paint applicator the words to the song Turn, Turn, Turn. And of course it talks about to every season, to every time there's a season, a time to be born, a time to die. That verse out of Ecclesiastes. Here I get into my fine line paint applicator where I was writing, and then I'd go over my writing with a wash. This was so fun, and I wish you could feel the texture. It's almost like it's embossed, but it's craft paint. And here I'm playing more with texture with using my fine line paint applicator. This is just creating texture out of the craft paint. Now we get into the section where I did the 29 faces. I believe this was in February. And I actually completed that challenge. And I'm just going to go through these pages. I'm not going, because they speak for themselves. This I did in August. This was of my grandmother's, off of my grandmother's wedding portrait. And this is my mother and my father. I did these two just recently, here in July. And this was one of my father that, here again, I like the basic outline, but it was bigger than I intended. And so I flipped it and I made his face and his head fit the page a little bit better. This is Tom Thumb and his wife. So fun to do these. These are from photos in the Wiki Commons. And what I like about these is Tom Thumb and his wife were little people, little midgets. But when you put them portraits on 12 by 12 paper, they are as big as their personalities. I love these. These are some of my favorites. This is the graphic stock video that I did promoting graphic stock, one of their promotions. Happy young girl writing notes. These are fun. I call these my legacy pages because this is actual genealogy out of a Bible that I got at the book sale, and I put it in between page protectors. And I used the Bible pages here. It's all in German. It's fun pages. And that's just my way of preserving for that particular family. No relation of mine, but that book probably would have gotten thrown away. I think I paid less than $1 for it. This is where I was playing with illuminated manuscript in the border here. This is an Emerson poem on fate. I think this was a 9-minute challenge. Different things to do. This is a collage I did. Just using scraps. And I used gold duct tape on the border. On the back was a challenge by Cindy Signs Utter. We had a hop. Everybody interpreted this as Picasso's work. Everybody did interpretations of it. This art is not mine. This is a painty page from Cindy Signs Utter. And I put it in my art journal because she gifted it to me, and I will not cut it up. I'm in love with it. This is art for me. She has a wonderful, wonderful sense of color. And then this is the page that I did for Cindy's challenge. I have a page here that I was playing with. You cannot see this very well, but I took puzzle pieces and I cut out magazine images and collaged them down. That was a challenge. I enjoyed that. I got them cut out okay, but putting it together was interesting. This was a color challenge, and this was just a whimsical page I did of a rabbit in overalls, and I melted wax on blue denim. This is my whimsical rabbit. I call these my inspiration pages. Here again, this is painty paper that was gifted to me by Cindy Signs Utter. I just love how that whimsical rabbit turned out. This is another whimsical page that I did inspired by a photo from Tim Holtz. This is just a collage where I was collaging down scraps. Just wanted to play, just needed to do some art, so I started pasting. This is one of my favorite pages too. Here again, this is painted paper, and this was meant to be whimsical and sort of a children's illustration page. I never heard this nursery rhyme when I was a child. There was an old woman tossed in a blanket 17 times as high as the moon, and she sweeping cobwebs from the sky. And here I have the cobwebs here, and this is her sweeping them. I was experimenting with my one and only Distress Oxide inks. I wanted to see how it worked with acrylic and with ink pens. So I was just playing here. This is my solar eclipse page I did just recently. This was a collage page that I did because I was doing some glue books and I didn't know what to do with these fantastic images, so I put them in my art journal. This is my chalkware doll. This is a page that I started off of a Tim Holtz photo, and I haven't finished it yet. I was frustrated with it, so I put it away. Now I'm looking at it and going, isn't that half bad? This is a page that I did just one day. I was wanting to do some art. This is off of a music sheet. Here are my dried dandelions again here. These are real dandelions in here. And I believe these are petunias right here. Dried flowers. And this is an iris. This right here is an iris. T-shirt page. Done off of an old t-shirt that was going to get thrown away. But I saved the print on the front of it. And I had written in my journal one day, there's something right with the world when two old veterans spend a summer morning just fishing. That was my original quote. In June, I created this entire stack of ATCs, and they're going to go 9 to a page here. Just like this. I had to wait until I could get the little packaging to put them in. But I'll have 4 pages of these in there. So, the request to see my 2017 partial. This is probably about 3/4 of the journal. I'll probably have another 1/4. Probably another stack about like this by the time I'm done. That is my composite art journal. Thank you for asking. Thank you for watching. If you watched this far, I did a 3/4 of the year journal flip. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next page.